That's not really a custom. Not no one that I found.
No, that goes back to Rome.
Yep.
It goes back to Rome and Greek. Basically, when the whole thing with the cake, you blew out a
Oh yeah,
candle.
the cake, the wedding cake.
Yep.
The wedding cake is Roman. That's 100% Roman.
Right. Which ultimately goes back to ancient Babylon. When you look at everything Esau copies, it all goes back to ancient Babylon during the time of Nimrod.
Yeah.
That all turning everything into one. You can see that.
I was just going to mention that there's a book that you could buy called The Two Babylons. I think that was by Alexander Hippop, something to that effect. And it goes into resemblances of what we celebrate in modern times and how it goes back to that time, like just like the brother's saying.
That's right.
He outlined all that.
That's right. When you blow out that candle, you really making a wish to that spirit. It's basically a demon.
Right.
So why would you have candles around a cake? Where'd it come from? Nobody ever sat back and thought about that?
Yeah,
why cake? Why cake with candles?
Right. Well, that's a custom that they used to do to honor the woman, right?
No, I was saying, well, it could.
Because they used to make cakes to, in the
Queen of Heaven.
Exactly.
Yes,
Queen of Heaven.
yes. Yep.
Well, they do merge different customs together.
Right.
Make it like a new custom.
Right.
Marriage.
The cats is blowing out candles, and they really doing it to spirits and shit.
Right.
That's crazy, man.
Another one is Easter.
Yep.
All right. That's fertility worship, woman worship. That's why they had the thing with the eggs, which that's also Babylon. Goes back to the so-called goddess Ishtar.
Yeah.
Ishtar, Easter.
Esau has a love affair with mimicking the Hamites.
That's right.
When you look at it, he's like the increased Hamite.
That's right.
He took everything that Ham did. He seen it. He saw that it brought forth power, and he just took it off. But when you look at it, Ham was high on the left-hand side. Yeah. Remember when Moses put his staff down, it turned into a snake. What else happened?
Right.
When them Hamites put his staff down, theirs turned into snakes. That's showing you on the left-hand side, they were able to create life out of that stick, man. So Esau, he's seeing all this, and it's like, I gotta go that way, you know?
Yeah, well, it says, they labored the multitude of sorceries, swift repairs, raising. So Esau became a better witch than Ham.
Yeah, yes.
Because he was given that. He was given that power on the left-hand side.
You heard they made an eye, somebody who was dead, a dead person's eye, respond to light again. They basically made the eye come back to life, so they say.
The same thing with a dog's head. They were able to bring a dog's head back to life. It was just the head, and they said with a couple of, I think they made like an artificial heart or something like that. An artificial heart to pump shit back into the brain, and the fucking dog started and they were able to put sugar on the lips. This is a while back too. This is talking probably like maybe in the 70s or something. Like this, like an old black and white video and shit.
Dr. Frankenstein, that's for real.
He trying. Esau's laboring in the sorceries. He ain't gonna be able to finish, but he gonna get to a point, and then the Lord gonna stop him. Right? There's a point. Well, I tell you that there's a point that bounds that he should not pass. So he can get to a high point, right? But he ain't gonna be able to get fully come into full power, which he wants to accomplish.
Yeah, it's actually in the 1940s. Actually, you see the picture right there. It's actually just a dog head, and they were able to revive that. I don't know if you're gonna get it. Like, 1940, they did that shit.
Yeah. You know they keeping technology away from the public. So, like with the implant, they're talking about some it can detect if you get sick or whatever. DARPA's working on it, the Defense Advanced Research Department, something like that. Why? Yeah, that's highly suspicious. Why would they create it just for this current disease or whatever?
Yeah, it says he removed the head of the dog and attached it to an apparatus which he called the auto-ejector. This is actually in German? No, Russian? Wait. Soviet? Yeah, so it's probably like Russian. Anyways, yeah. So you see the wickedness that they can do.
All right, so Reed, you had a point on Cleopatra?
Oh yeah, I was gonna. It says.
The movie.
Yeah, it says like most men, women, and even children in Egypt at the time, Cleopatra shaved her head. Egyptians believed body hair was unclean and frankly uncivilized. In fact, She wore elaborate wigs made by slaves. So yeah. So going to the brother's point, how that's a heathen custom. So even Cleopatra, she used to be wearing wigs and shit.
Yeah, Cleopatra wasn't African. There has been a lot of Cleopatras. So the Cleopatra that came from the Seleucid line, father was definitely an Edomite. Now on the mother's side, it could have been another nation, but I believe she probably was an Edomite too. But the point is, the Cleopatra that came, that was given to the Ptolemies, I guess to merge the kingdoms or to have peace. But normally when you're trying to when you're trying to prevent a war, you have like a hostage go to the other side, or you'll marry a daughter or a son. So I believe the Seleucid, one of those daughters, Cleopatra, married a Ptolemy. Right? That's what gave birth to the Ptolemaic line. Those were Edomites. They were not Israelites. All right? For some, Afrocentric people, they believe that Cleopatra was a black woman. She was not. The line that came from Seleucid and Ptolemy, they were Edomites. All right? Not Israelites, not Hamites. All right? Now you had many Cleopatras though, so you had to be very specific on which Cleopatra you're talking about. All right? You have another point?
Oh yeah, you want me to Isaiah 30?
Yeah, about Egypt?
Yeah.
Did you find Diana?
Yes.
Did you find a point? Yeah, skim through it and see a relevant point. Read that.
Yeah, this is Isaiah 31:1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and horsemen because they are very strong.
Right, we're separate from Egypt. All right, and America is spirit. Let me spirit side of Egypt. Book of Revelation. We finish reading the spirit side of Egypt.
But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord Yahweh.
Neither seek the Lord Yahweh. All right, so you got to be completely separate. If you come into the faith, you got to be separate from this world. All right, He's giving you pretty much the blueprint on how to do that. All right, you want to dress, you want to worship in Yahweh Shai. All right, how the man's supposed to dress, how the woman's supposed to dress. All right, did we read the border of blue yet?
No, yeah, that's
we can read that. Read that right after. Finish reading that. To read the border of blue, and then read the scripture I asked you to get.
Verse 2. Yet he also is wise, and will bring evil, and will not call back his words, but will rise against the house of the evildoers, and against the help of them that work iniquity.
All right, yeah. So if Israel going off, the Lord going to destroy you. All right, and the other nations going to destroy that which.
Yeah. Verse 3, now the Egyptians are men, not God. Not the Most High. And their horses flesh and not spirit. When the Lord Yahweh shall stretch out his hand, both
the scriptures say that the Lord is a spirit, Yahweh Shai. And them that worship him must worship in the spirit and in truth. So we got to realize that Yahweh Shai, he's more powerful than the Egyptians and the new Egyptians, which is America, Edomites. What?
Read again?
Yeah, from you got the middle of the verse, right?
Yeah. Now the Egyptians are men and not the Most High, and their horses flesh and not spirit. When the Lord Yahweh shall stretch out his hand, both he that hopeth shall fall, and he that is hope. Yeah. And then it says, and he that is hoping shall fall down.
Israel, whoever's being aided by the Egyptians. That's both back then and now. Remember, the Egyptians were pretty much white, ceased to become a nation. They were scattered. They got taken over by I believe the Assyrians, then the Assyrians/Babylonians, all right, and then the Persians and the Medes, all right, and then the Greeks, and the Romans. And the Egyptians pretty much got scattered throughout the world, throughout Africa. Right? You don't even know who the Egyptians are today. I think they probably went south. They scattered. They don't even have any name. So that was the curse that the Lord put on the Egyptians. And so if you help to buy the Egyptians with the modern day Egyptians, which are America, you're going to get cursed too. You're going to get scattered and destroyed. Right? And you're going to use him to do it. You're going to use the Egyptians, which are the Edomites, in America, and whatever country you dwell at, if you got Edomites in the country ruler, you're going to use them to persecute you. Right? And they're going to have victory over you if you don't acknowledge the truth and what we're saying and convert. Right? So that our security is and safety is in Yahushua.
And it ends off with, and they shall all fail together.
And they shall all fail together. All right, so give me spiritual Sodom in Egypt. Spiritual Sodom in Egypt.
Yeah, this is Revelation 11 and 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified.
Right, that's America. Right? Right? Spiritually Sodom and Egypt. Right? Sodom because, you know, I guess, say, America's probably the most free country where you can do anything you want to your body, pretty much. And they're accepting the alternative lifestyle communities in the military. Like the military is supposed to be used, like pretty much to kill people. That's what the military is used for. That's the primary purpose of the military, is to kill people. All right, not to do humanitarian aid and all that. That's like second and third. The primary mission for the military is to kill people. But in America, you got to consider the rights of alternative lifestyle people. Right? That's not. That shows you that Babylon America is going down. That is eventually going to be destroyed because they're not even really focused on fighting like they used to be. They're not focused. They're focused on things that don't have nothing to do with their organization. Their organization is used to kill people, but yet they're considering alternative lifestyle people, equality, gender equality, and all that. That had nothing to do with the military. Like the military is not like a reflection of how socially acceptable America is supposed to be. The military is supposed to be how good you're at killing, not accepting and inclusion and all that. Yeah? America is circling the drain. All right, that's demonic. No, rarely like the Russians, they're not concerned about including people. Alternative lifestyle people and gender equality and all that. But America is. That's how it shows you that America's going down. Go read it.
Yeah, this is Jeremiah 51 and 30. It says, the mighty men of Babylon, talk about the soldiers, have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might have failed. They became as women.
Yeah, they're being weak. They're weak. Mm-hmm. All right. Now you got some of them got the alternative lifestyle people coming in. All right. And you got them integrating with you got women integrating into the military, which the primary purpose of the military is to kill, not to include women, to include alternative lifestyle people. The spirit in Egypt is failing. It's failing. It's circling the drain, slowly but surely. You can see it. All right? When they start to try to include, that pretty much weakens their military. I believe they did a study where they started including women into the ranks, and their combat effectiveness went down. This is a fact. This has nothing to do with me hating women or nothing like that. This is a fact. And the brother just read the scriptures. They became like women. They're getting weaker. Americans are getting weaker. So the West's ideology is inclusion and all that stuff. That's not the purpose of a damn military. The purpose of the military is to kill people. All that stuff is second, third, and fourth.
Yeah.
Humanitarians and all that shit, and aiding people.
Yeah, like anything with war, like in general, like even with training with women, you gotta be very, very, very light on them. If not, they saying you going too hard on them. You know what I mean? I remember in times training with a girl, just using a certain technique on her, she's freaking out and stuff because I'm using that technique, but that's allowable. No other man will say, hey, you can't do that technique or nothing like that. But because she's a woman and she want to participate with men and also want to claim higher rank, man, another man just come out and take all that rank away from her. One man.
Yeah, like 140 pound, 50 pound
Damn.
man can still carry more weight and take more bodily stress than a 140, 50-pound woman.
Yeah.
And America's integrating that weakness into their military. If that's not symbolic, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. That's direct flaw in America's infantry. Right?
Yeah. And then plus I remember, like recently, I believe now they're kind of like concerned like the fitness tests and all that.
I was just getting ready to bring that up. I have evidence on that too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just real quick, it says military physical test requirements for each branch in 2022. I'm just going to read the headline. It was dated February 2nd of 2022. It says the minimum standard for men is 29 and for women is 15. That's for sit-ups.
Yep.
They're just the outline with just one example. So they have different physical requirements because they know that women, while they claim in one breath they're equal, they don't have the same physical strength, mental strength, emotional strength to really be in that atmosphere. You know, essentially, they're using women as pawns because they know they don't have the same abilities.
Yeah, that's some kind of sick demonic ritual they must be doing. They know this. It's not like that we got to be telling them this and they figure it out. They know it's weakening the effectiveness of combat. So they doing kind of sick experiment. I guess they're just going to use bombs and missiles and all that. That's what they're planning to do. You got more on that?
That's pretty much it. It says the minimum standard is 29 and 15, and then it continues to follow up with this is a 1-minute test in which members must do as many as they can with proper technique. Then it proceeds to say that the minimum requirement is 38 for men, and then for women 32. But it just makes the point that there are different expectations for men and women. Because they know that women cannot physically compete with the standards that they're putting out there. But remember now, this is for the military. This is for the so-called defense of your country.
Yeah, and I believe now they're making it where I'm pretty sure they started making where the mile isn't required to be red anymore or something like that.
Yeah, gonna be Egypt every work. Well, it tells you that Egypt is going to err in every work. That's one of the things they fucking up on. They this equality, inclusion shit, which has nothing to do with killing people. All right, you're supposed to be able to kill as many people as quickly as you can. And integrating women into that group is going to make you less effective.
I'm gonna look at
Right, if you're setting the standard or the bar lower for your female service members, then guess what? The expectation decreases as well. You know?
Stress level, all that. Women can't take as much stress either. Giving birth, yes, absolutely.
You're making it so that they can be qualified, but that's not doing your military any justice.
Right. We need to sit them in like a drone. Good Kill. What's the movie Good Kill with Ethan Hawke? Doing the drone.
Well, that's like you said. Egypt errs in every work. You're not supposed to be sending a woman off in no damn military. She's not a warrior. When you go into the scripture is explicit, and it tells you that the males 20 years. That's in the book of, I believe, Numbers. All right, and it tells you of all the different mighty men of the different tribes. And there were certain circumstances where men didn't even go to war. Okay.
Yeah, and in certain branches of the military, you know, women never participated in them, like the Green Berets. It was like last year was the first woman that made it to the Green Beret.
That's like high level, right?
Yeah, she's like and then she's the highest, most exceptional woman too. So that's very rare. Make the Green Berets. And then, you know, it said, I think we talked about this before, about men feeling more concerned for women on the battlefield, so you're going to lose your focus because you're concerned about the woman. And then you're going to probably want to have sex with her too. Because that's another huge problem with men on military bases, is that they're, after they get finished fighting or before they're about to go fight, they pretty much just want to get drunk and have sex. That's all you're pretty much going to do on the base or outside of the base. Is have sex and drink, and women are a distraction.
Yeah, their judgment is impaired because, you know, when I was in the military, I held this 40 Mike it's called, explosive machine gun, basically. So you know them grenades. You know, remember what's that movie with old boy? He said This is Al Pacino, Scarface. Remember you put that grenade in there and shot it?
Yeah.
Now imagine a big ass gun that shoots a whole bunch of those like a machine. Right? It's called a Mark 19. Now that thing weighs 75 pounds. Now they told me to carry it, so I carried the 75 pound gun. A woman, no. They said don't carry that. Have somebody help you with this. That impairs your judgment. Because now you're worried about the female and her strengths and abilities, man. You know, and that's like what the brother said. That's a lot of times what they did in the military. When men was overseas and stuff like that, they would say, okay, we need more women in here, because it would have boosted the morale of other men. Right. That's why there's a lot of rapes in the military.
Yeah, all over. That's why certain countries are weary about putting a military base in an area, because that area is going to attract pretty much bars, strip clubs are going to start popping up around the area, and that's going to affect the neighborhood.
The thing that's affecting Japan and Korea, they want the military men out of there. And they want the military men out of there because they raping the women. Yeah. You know?
They're like, come here.
Brother had a quick preset.
Okay. This is Numbers chapter 1 and 20. I'm going to go to verse 19. As Yahweh commanded Moses, so he numbered them in the wilderness of Sinai. And the children of Reuben, Israel's eldest son, by their generations, after their families, by the house of their families, according to the number of the names, by their polls, every male from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war.
Males, 20 years old and upward, meaning that they were able to go. So you had to, I'm sure you had to meet some type of physical requirement, age, and gender. Right?
Like
so
I said,
they didn't include women.
There were certain circumstances that a man was not able to go to war too. I think if the wife just had given birth, if I'm not mistaken,
you just took a wife or whatever,
or newly married, because what you gonna be thinking about? You're gonna be thinking about her. Yeah, exactly. And when that, that's a real problem for men in today's military. They go and they leave their wife. You know what they got to be thinking about? What the hell she doing back at home?
Most times they is getting time about the other dudes.
That was the point. That was the point. Just backing up everything that brothers were saying.
Isaiah 19.
Yeah, this is Isaiah 19 and 14. And Yahweh hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit.
Yeah, purposely weakening your own military, right? By including women, right? Purposely, and then making, giving alternative lifestyle people rights and focusing on that, and that's actually a checklist of whatever your commander got to go through and all that. You got to make sure you protect the rights and don't ask, don't tell. Instead of focusing on killing people, you're focusing on all these other things that got nothing to do with killing people. That's your main purpose, is to kill people.
Yeah, and if I could say, they project their weakness to the other nations by putting on television, having the Senate hearings and debates around it. The nations see this. China see this. Moab,
Russia.
Russia.
Yeah, Russia don't have no problem with that. Of course, there's sodomites in every military, obviously, but they don't have to, be concerned about it like the Americans are concerned about it.
Remember, they passed the law to lock them up. No, they passed the law to lock them up.
That's right.
So
that's why they hide the shit. Remember, Russians, they Edomites too. So they gonna have alternative lifestyle people. So if you rush them, they just hide it. So if you a sodomite in the Russian military, they just hide it.
Yeah. That's why these Babylonians try to exploit it. They try to say, Russia over there persecutes the LGBT. They'll have 60-minute expose on homosexuals over there in Russia and their persecution with their face covered and stuff.
Which shows you that there's one place that fits Revelations 11 and 8.
Yeah.
That's spiritually Sodom and Egypt.
Right.
When you look at America, America's Egypt, because all the oppression that is putting people through.
Right.
Even the gas prices and everything. Everybody sees that.
Right.
The mandates
right.
that they're going to kick back up
right.
with so-called C-19. And then you got this sodomite aspect of it.
Right.
Like, here it is, it's June. Right. It's June. It's June, and guess what? You see faggots running them up, man, because of what Obama did, man.
Right.
That lets you know that this place is spiritually Sodom and Egypt.
Yeah, spiritually Sodom and Egypt and Babylon. There's no other country pushing these philosophies like America, or Babylon, the daughter of Babylon.
Buzz Lightyear that's coming out, the new one.
Right.
There's a scene, Lightyear. There's a scene in there, I guess, where the chick kisses another woman. That movie's being banned in 14 countries because 14 countries is like, nah, we don't want to see that shit.
Right.
That lets you know, man, there's one place that's spiritually Sodom and Egypt.
And I believe there's about 30 or more countries that actually have homosexuality outlawed. India is one of them. A lot of the African nations, Cameroon, Mozambique, they all have it outlawed. Them different alternative lifestyles. So you got narrow it down. Process of elimination.
Absolutely.
Who's pushing this? Where is it coming from? What side of the world? It's coming out of the West.
Motherfuckers
Particularly and mainly.
Motherfuckers is willing to lose money to push the agenda.
Yeah.
It's crazy because a lot of these the money that gets sent to these other countries, that comes with those attachments. You gotta be down with the LGBT. Right? Like you gotta be able to have provisions in the bill where you have transgender, activity done. Through the government, sponsored through the government.
You gotta be able to support them. Yeah, through your money, you got attachments, so you have to be able to support alternative lifestyle communities. All right, that's one of the stipulations of a so-called modern democracy. They want you to be modern. Even though Ukraine, that's a hell of a state because Ukraine, they're pretty much a criminal government. They do a lot of illegal things within their government, but yet they're entertaining the fact to become part of NATO and become part of the EU, which is crazy. That's insane. For Ukraine to entertain to become a part of the European Union or NATO. Right? And they do all sorts of the evil shit within their country. They have actually a Nazi army within Ukraine that works alongside, either independently or together, with the current government. But yet they're seriously being considered to be a part of the EU. That's perverse.
Yeah, Salaki, if I said India, I meant Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is the one that has it outlawed. India, I just found out that, well, they're not actually a NATO state. American Senate has given them the same standard as a NATO member. But you got to consider, if they have an agreement like that, then India has had to do what brothers are talking about. They had to accept certain terms and agreements in order to get that protection. That's what NATO is. That beast, what it offers is protection. But what ends up happening is, whenever America gets involved with another country, they want the support from all these other minor countries that have come up underneath that beast.
Those other countries are like buffers. They get the brunt of the wars and stuff like that.
Right.
And none of the countries like each other either. Nope. None of those countries like each other. Nope. Right? All those countries, Poland, Ukraine, Lithuania, Germany, France, they all have a problem with each other because of the wars they had in the past. Right? So this union is pretty much ready to fall apart.
Exactly.
It tells you that the 10 horns shall hate the whore.
17. Right.
And they're gonna break up.
And I saw a whole news outlet, Indian news outlet, and they were saying that basically they don't follow the American politics. So they're going to still do business with Russia. Because remember, this thing going on in Ukraine is affecting the global economy. It's affecting a lot of different countries and their ability to purchase gas. So they're saying, look, we don't follow the rhetoric and the politics coming out of the West. So we're going to continue to do business. We condemn the actions of Russia, but that's not going to change how we do our business.
Right.
But that's how you know that these different arrangements, agreements, and then, of course, those different nations that are part of the EU or NATO are all going to be disbanded. It's all going to fall apart. And the events that are taking place is causing that division. So those that eat this man's bread, they're going to lay that wound under them.
A lot of Babylonian soldiers going to get killed with Babylonian-made weapons. Yeah. Because of the, over there in the Middle East.
Right. Like
Ukraine.
They provide them U.S. military.
Yeah, they just provided a whole bunch of American weapons to Poland. They buffered their security. Because really, these nations, they're all gearing for war. They're all gearing for war.
Yeah, this is Matthew 24:7. Yeah, this is Matthew 24:7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places.
So, give me a revelation that says the 10
That's why
horns
you
are
have
the
different countries. They're making different unions like BRICS. Like India is a part of BRICS, if I'm not mistaken, right? You got Brazil, you got Russia, India, and then South Africa. China. China's in there too. The water, yeah.
You had mentioned India. You got a cooperative Shanghai cooperative agreement. That's like Asian countries.
God, yeah.
So basically, set up to shun America. Like America's over here,
Right.
trying to make deals over there, and they have a alliance together on the continent.
NATO, the last thing they got. NATO, that's it.
Yeah, they're sick of basically America's military and economic intervention over the world. They can't prosper without this man coming in there and trying to, dictate to them. Remember, this is the hammer of the earth. So.
Yeah, precept. Just real quick.
I don't know if y'all brought this out. Joel chapter 3 and 9, it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war.
Yeah, the other nations, yeah. Proclaim war, because that's the prophecy. All right, the Lord is going to lead all these nations into the valley of Jehoshaphat. The Most High's judgment, how was your part? Okay? And it's the Spirit of the Lord that's mustering the host of the battle. So it's in the mindset of these different nations and their militaries to gear and prepare for war.
It says prepare war.
Remember the headlines, as soon as the announcement between Russia invading Ukraine, they were saying that we are now much closer to what? World War III. That's the sentiment that was being echoed. So this is actually a spoken prophecy, a spoken word. So it's got to manifest. And we're seeing it. Okay? These different nations in their preparations. Okay? The economy and the financial and war, they all tie together, Go ahead.
God, it's Revelation 17 and 6.
Hold on, brother. Hold on.
It says, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords.
Beat your plowshares, right? Your plowshares, that's a farming instrument, right? Into swords. Now a sword is what? An ancient weapon used in warfare, right? So your modern day weapons is whatever different artillery these militaries carry. The brother was mentioning what? That mock gun, right? Tanks, missiles, both intercontinental ballistic missiles and hypersonic missiles, right? Like the Russians got. Go ahead.
Beat your plowshares into swords.
And remember, years, Lockie, this has to be said, years leading into where we're at right now, how many times did you hear about a nation running military drills? Constantly. Different war games. Multiple nations, that's right. Go ahead.
It says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears.
Right. It's saying the same thing. Pruning hook is another farming tool. And it's saying to beat it into a spear. Another instrument of war. Go ahead.
It says, let the weak say, I am strong.
That's these different nations basically building themselves up militarily, right? Building up their arsenal or making agreements with nations that will be able to protect them.
They say about 2020, about 2030, China should have a navy that's able to, rival United States military.
Right. Yeah, as a matter of fact, when America tried to intervene between the election in Venezuela, right? Who came to the aid? Russia. And that's just one example. So the weak are saying that they're strong because they got the backing of bigger countries. Okay, militarily and economically. Go ahead. Okay. That was the point. Basically, all these nations, through the power and spirit of Yakalba Page, are being called for war. All right? Because that's the determination of the Heavenly Father. When Yakalba Page comes down, he's coming to subdue all dominions on the earth. All right? And a big part of that is going to be those missiles dropping. All right? Over 200 million. All right?
Hey, did you drop that? I'll read it for you. This is Joel 3:1. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah in Jerusalem. That's the Israelites.
Right.
Bring again meaning take back, not bring it back into effect.
Right.
We're already in captivity.
Exactly.
Verse 2, it says, I will also gather all nations and will what? And will bring them down into the valley of Yehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people. You see that? That's the purpose. That's the purpose of, you see them gathering like brothers was talking about, of them gathering the different nations to war.
Right.
They bring them there for one purpose. Plead to judge them for what?
Right.
My people Israel, it's going to say. It says,
the word plead means shapat, or
That's
judge.
right.
To judge.
That's right. Plead with them there for my people Israel and for my heritage Israel, for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And that's what I wanted to, touch on what the brother was bringing out, because the reason why this is happening is for the Israelites.
Right.
So when you see war on the planet Earth, we want that.
Right.
Because that's the sooner we're going to get to the kingdom.
That's right. That's right.
This is Isaiah 34:2. It says, for the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He have utterly destroyed them, he have delivered them to the slaughter. And that's the Lord's righteous indignation. And it's speaking in past tense like he already did it. So it's going to play out. And we're watching it play out right now, as we speak.
Yeah, it's a slaughter. It's not going to be even a real fight. It's a slaughter.
Yep.
Esau, the other nations, not going to have no defenses against Yahushai's army, against the angels.
One of the first jobs of the elites is to bury those dead bodies. I think Ezekiel 38 or 39, it talks about the valley of, it's the valley of stink, where it's going to stink over there. Because all of the bodies, they're going to have to bury those bodies. Valley of the passengers.
Look it up.
That's why a lot of videos and news have been circulating about these different millionaires, billionaires. They doing what? They leaving the country, or they're building them bunkers, or adding on to them bunkers. What's that?
Trying to go to space.
Trying to go to space, right.
A lot of them go to New Zealand. A lot of them
Con. Yep.
God, this Isaiah 13:4, the noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, and tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord Yahweh of hosts mustereth the host of the battle.
Yeah, the Lord mustereth the host of the battle. Right? Because the Lord, the Most High, going to send Yahushai. Yahushai going to have his generals set up at Micah. That's one of the main generals that are going to be set up, because it's going to be destroying Esau's army and the other nations' army.
They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord Yahweh.
This is World War III, when they turn from fighting each other and turn to fight the Lord. But the reason why they're even coming together is because the Spirit of the Lord is drawing them together to that third world war.
And if I may say, those nuclear missiles are likened unto an army too. Because they like the scriptures say, they're not going to break rank. That might be what you read. But, they're going to have the Spirit of the Lord in them to, go off where they need to go off, kill where they need to kill. The Spirit of the Lord is going to be in them.
Yeah, it says, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land.
Yeah, that's the nuclear fire. Right? Yeah, because, modern warfare, it's missiles, drones, jets. Right?
Yeah, it's like you brothers. I don't know if y'all seen this cheesy movie. It was supposed to be executively produced by Chris Hemsworth. It's called Interceptor. And basically
I ain't see it.
the premise of the movie was they were on one of these military defense bases. Okay, they were out in the water, and you had some basically freelancers or contractors that worked for the United States military that basically got turned, and they were seizing missiles to shoot on different American countries. So, but in there they had a missile defense system. And once they put in the certain key code, they were able to send an interceptor missile to shoot the ones that were heading in that direction out the sky. But I was just thinking about how the scripture says, as a mighty archer shooteth the arrow and it go forward, it shall what? It shall not return until it hits its intended target. Loosely paraphrasing. So I was laughing my ass off the whole time in that movie, because that shit ain't gonna happen, man. And then of course, they over there uplifting the woman. You see the main character, They got her looking like Rambo. She falls off this damn thing into the water. She got 30 seconds to spare. She's climbed to one hand, stops the missiles from that shit ain't gonna happen, man. The only thing good about that movie was the illustration of them missiles getting ready to hit these different American cities, you know? But that thought came to mind along with that movie, because you're not gonna have, see, these different missile defense systems are gonna fail. Not to mention, them different hypersonic missiles that the Russians got can't even be detected. They're moving so fast. Which proves, like the brother said, the spirit of the Lord is really in the missiles. They're not gonna be able to be detected. And that also gives more context to how the Lord is gonna come as a thief in the night.
Yeah, and those and missiles that, like, the ones with a nuclear payload, those you can't intercept those. I mean, them smaller ones you might be able to do, but anything with a nuclear payload, that's part of the Lord's army.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be able to intercept those missiles.
And people forget about the angels too. Remember, the angels been playing with the missiles going back since the 40s. The Montana, Mount from Air Force Base, they were playing with the nuclear missile, making it go a different direction. So you got something heading to the missile with the angel right there.
Yeah, I heard they were the missile launch sequence was counting down almost to zero, and then it just stopped.
Yep.
You know,
the angel was doing that.
Yeah, they control it. That's so not control it was the Lord's army. Those nuclear missiles. Right? The Lord of hosts must host, like it's right. The Lord is in control of all the armies, whether they men on the ground or they're missiles. The Lord is in control. Okay?
It says, "Howl ye, for the day of the Lord Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty."
Yeah, and when the day comes, all right, people are going to be afraid. And who's really going to be afraid? Women. So what are some benefits to having a man? We're gonna go into some benefits. Right? We're gonna look up family in the Zondervans. See why is it beneficial to have a man of the Lord specifically?
I got a preset after you're done with that.
It says, "Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt."
So if a man's heart's gonna melt, what do you think a woman's going to do? She's going to be petrified.
"And they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrow shall take a hold of them. They shall be in pain as women that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another, their faces shall be as flames."
This is how men going to be. Right? As a woman that's going through giving birth or birth pains.
It says, "Behold, the day of the Lord Yahweh cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make a man..."
Yeah, so that's very specific. He's going to lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Remember, it is written about Esau that his terribleness has deceived him. So, the Lord allowed him to build up his military, have military and economic influence over the world, but at the end of the day, the Lord is going to bring this man to nothing. He's going to be dethroned. And then anybody that's joined themselves onto this man is also going to be destroyed. Okay? Particularly in that fire. It says the slain of the Lord shall be many. So Yahweh Shai is going to get busy, man. All right? Simultaneously as the missiles are dropping, Yahweh Shai is going to be getting busy. And the angels. All right? So if there was any doubt as to what the Lord intended to do, it just told you. You look at what this man has done throughout the world. Okay? He's hurt the earth, he's polluted everything, he's perverted everything. Okay? He's had all this time to rule, and he's done nothing besides oppress, okay? And stress people out. Okay? Cause animals to become endangered. So as brothers would say, the earth needs new management. It's gonna happen, the transition is gonna happen through the missiles, that world war. Okay, and leading up to it, this man is gonna what? Push that CHIP, MOTB, which is why we see it more and more of these things being talked about. and it's very prominent. It's not hidden. They're showing it. They're telling you. Okay, with what they want to do, with tracking everybody's carbon footprint, having everybody linked in. Okay, it's all culminating into what will inevitably be World War III, Yahushua, the Most High's judgment. Read that last part again and continue.
It says, and I will cause it. I'll start from yeah. And I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause.
Yeah, this is the second death. This is the second death. Go ahead.
Then it says, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. I will make.
Yeah, so Esau gonna be getting shot out of the sky. All right, brother said earlier how about these different nations, they're gonna come together essentially, right? They're gonna be warring with each other, but they're gonna turn their attention to the Lord, and the Most High gonna wipe them clean, man, with that fire. It ain't even gonna really be a fight, because the Lord is gonna be magnified in that day. He's gonna demonstrate and show you what type of power he's capable of, what type of power he is. That's why before that precept came, it said that people were gonna be failing for fear. People are going to be shutting down, having heart attacks. They're going to be like astonished at what they even see, and they're going to really be able to digest and comprehend it.
Yeah. Like if the chariot black out the sun, you know, people going to be afraid. Esau don't have the power to, you know, protect people no more, protect women. That's the only reason why women are free today, because they got police to protect them. If Esau, as soon as we get rid of Esau, the women they're going to fall right in line. That's the only thing that's between the obedience of our women. The women in general is law enforcement. That's it. So, and it tells you that men gonna be afraid. So women. So when you see the sun get dark because of a chariot, all right? Because when the mushroom cloud goes up, then that's gonna be dead if you ain't delivered. So if the chariot come, block out the sun, and it gets dark, just like it was dark in Egypt, you know, people gonna be afraid.
A woman's strength is a man anyways. I don't care what they say. They can deny it all they want to. But a man-built society, men-built civilization, men provide security. These different jobs that they're so-called fighting for equal pay for, these damn corporate jobs that they so badly want to become a fucking debt slave to, men built that. So no matter what a woman does, her strength comes from a man, either directly or indirectly, whether they admit it or not. So you're damn right.
They're gonna be tested.
If men are gonna be, if men's hearts are gonna be failing them from here for fear, women are surely, man, are gonna be, yeah. They're gonna be totally, utterly humble.
So
I don't even know if there's enough words.
Remember, keep that same energy, strong and independent when this part happens.
Yeah, who the hell you think is even providing them a platform to go and spew this feminist shit? A man's doing that. Right. Even all the fucking beliefs that they have and that they subscribe to, that all comes from a man.
Made that shit up. Feminism, man created that.
That man got an agenda. Right into it.
Right.
Cause you know Esau, he don't follow that shit that he programmed these women. I mean the elites anyway.
Nope.
He don't follow it. I mean they might worship. What they do, worship feminine demons, with a feminine type and masculine demons like Baphomet.
Right.
It's one that's supposed to be androgynous.
Right.
Has both male and female parts. You know, with spirit.
Right. Well, because he understands the power of a woman. Okay. That's so he pays homage to that because he knows that can lead a lot of individuals astray. You give power to the woman, look at what it's done. It's ultimately destroyed society.
Yeah, to make us weak. So
it's
when
destroyed civilization.
Yeah, so when they come in with the new program, it's easy to take control of the people that are weak.
Yeah, by and large, the woman rules the house these days. So they rule the children, they rule the husband. They're a very powerful tool for the elite. You know, the whole serpent.
Yeah, and I believe like one of the forefathers of the Rothschilds said to never let a woman, rule in the family. Right. So
Yeah, he gives power over to the woman for certain purposes, but never to actually ultimately lead, because they know what it'll bring. It'll bring corruption, or bring chaos.
I got scripture to prove that.
Yeah.
This is 2 Corinthians 11:3. It says, but I feared, least by any means, as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety. So it was never a woman, it was always a man behind him. You know? Deception. You know?
Yeah, come on.
We're going to go into marriage. There's a lot here on marriage.
Get in on that?
Marriage or
Oh,
family?
it's one more, it's like two more verses.
Family?
Yeah, family. Family.
I still got a quick preset.
I'm trying to put the two together.
Yeah, you can just like them all.
Yeah, it says, Isaiah 13:12, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir.
Hold that there.
Yeah, this is the book of Psalms, chapter 75, in verse 6. It says, for promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but the Most High is the judge. He put it down one and setteth up another.
That's why Esau, he has certain rules now in his system, because the Lord allowed him to be empowered for the short time period.
That's
Really
right.
short.
And that's the emphasis I wanted. The Lord allowed this man to build his kingdom up, right? But the Most High is also going to be the reason why he's brought down. Through his son Yahweh Shai, when he gives him the command and go ahead to do so. That's that emphasis I wanted.
Yeah, we're in the flesh, so it seemed like a long time. Really, to the Lord, it's a short amount of time, but we got to suffer it in his body to change the darkness. Yeah. I think it says wise, radish. Let's read that verse. And we're going to go into family and marriage. There's a lot here, stuff I need to know about. The sexual fulfillment, divorce.
Yeah. It says Isaiah 13 and it says Isaiah 13:15. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is.
It means if you're a part of the war, you're going to be put to death. What?
Yeah, I was literally.
And everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword.
Yeah, if you're an ally or whatever, you're going to be put to death.
I should have been there.
Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravaged.
Right, yeah, so if in the case where it comes to, you got ground forces within this war, women are going to be getting, well, it's already happening. This is referring to the Third World War. Right? That's going to be happening. All right, so we're going into family, marriage. You can read family first. What it says about the power that the husband had.
Yeah.
And life and death over the household.
But I was being really rather like crazy.
Before that, I read it.
Then I was being.
This what prompted me to go into marriage. So this is family under the the Bible dictionary here again. It says marriage was arranged not by the young people involved, but by the man or his father in the family of the bride, for whom a dowry or purchase money was paid to her father. In spite of this commercial aspect of the marriage,
Yeah, the Bible is masculine, male intense.
Yep.
Right, so the man is the head. It's not the man leads, one part of the year, 6 months, and the woman leads, or it's interchangeable. Because if the woman leads and it's interchangeable, when it's time to defend, she got to take up the defense. She ain't going to do that because she's not physically able to. So it's not interchangeable leadership. All right, you have one head, clear, distinct head.
I think I see it.
Right? And then you have the wife and the children. And then when the sons get old enough, they start taking leadership roles, really above the wife, the mother.
Yep. It says, in spite of this commercial aspect of the marriage contract, there is evidence that the love of the young people for each other often had an important part
So
in the
it
prelim.
mentioned a dowry, I believe it said 50 shekels of silver.
Yep.
Supposed to give the bride's father. Commercial aspect, because you transfer ownership from the father of the bride to the husband.
Yep. It says for each other often had an important part in the preliminaries of the marriage. It says Genesis 29, 1 Samuel 18:20. Like you have Jacob, right? He had a love for Rachel. I believe it was Rachel first, then and he said that he was Leah. So exactly. So he actually they obviously there was some sort of love there because every time Jacob seen her, they've embraced each other and whatnot. So there was a little bit of that involved, but there was work that was put in for that type of but it was between the men, right?
Yeah, and even women understand that. Even though in this society you don't work through the father to get the woman generally falls for the individual who's the highest bidder.
I believe Rachel was youngest. Bond said, we got to give away the elders first.
Yeah. So for any woman that gets offended at the facts,
Yeah,
the reality is
younger.
you give yourself over to the highest bidder. The problem is you shouldn't have that power.
Yep. I'm on. We're talking about that.
Typically, women don't have the ability to make the right judgment. Okay, because they're seeing the pleasure aspect of that situation, not necessarily what type of individual this man is that you're about to give yourself over to.
Yep.
Which is why that was really given to the father.
These women want to consistently talk about how niggas ain't shit, they ain't shit, but they have the choice in what man they want to be with.
Yeah.
We're not in the
So
old
it's
times
really
where the men,
your
where the men
decision
said,
making ain't
exactly,
shit.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
the way you choose a mate
Yep.
that isn't shit.
Yeah, we live in a society where women have to say what man they want to be with. Yet who are they choosing?
That's why the scriptures tell you that a woman that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. That's how she leads. Okay?
That's how you can tell a worldly woman.
Right.
The first thing she wants you to do is spend a bunch of money at a damn restaurant.
I don't even know her.
Well, that's pretty much 99% of women. Well, let's say 95.
And marriage actually had significance, and it's going to turn back to that. Because remember, you were building a family enterprise. Okay? So marrying, kind of like this brother talked about earlier, but in a traditional sense, two families would come together in that marriage. Okay? Two families would become
Right,
one.
and the woman had duties. She had to make garments, she had to cook, clean, run errands, go to the market, get fresh fruits and vegetables and beans and all that, and negotiate things and all that. The woman actually had to do that. So just staying in the house, demon that these bitches keep talking about, is a lie. Okay? They got a lot of work to do. A lot. Then they probably gonna need help too. So they gotta get with other women so they can do it together.
Let me read some more of this misogyny and woman hate. This is gonna piss off a lot of the feminist community right here.
They had to feed and water the sheep.
Yep.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another reason why the 50 shekels of silver. Because you're really taking somebody who's a household, manager away from that house. Because that woman that daughter did work.
Right.
The father had to be paid for that.
Yep. It says the wife was regarded as the property of the husband. He could divorce her, but she could not divorce him.
Right, so that's the power dynamic difference. Well, say we're not equal. Let's keep it simple. We're not equals. Our job is to lead, okay, and make the important decisions. All right, whether it be whether to stay in fights, run, the stockpile on food. Like Jacob. When Esau came against Jacob, what did Jacob do? He had to divide his wives with his children because he saw that Esau was going to come and kill his whole family. So what he did, he divided Leah and Rachel with their children. And he went and wrestled the angel. All right? So he had to make that executive decision. It wasn't up to Leah and Rachel. It was up to Jacob to be smart and say, why stay in one big group? Why don't we just split up? And so if he smite you, one group, the other group will get away. He smite the other group will get away. Right?
It says he could not divorce her, but she could. He could divorce her, He could divorce her, but she could not divorce him. Not only were polygamy and concubinage permitted, but no disgrace was attached to it.
Yeah, no disgrace. So you could have a wife and then have a bunch of these little heathens running around or in the house or whatever, or doing whatever. And the wife didn't have a fucking attitude which you have in those other women around.
Yep.
Well, you have 5 or 6 concubines to have, say, 2 wives. Yeah. Right? It was no like looking at you like, oh, you with that bitch today? Well, she might say it, but it's like you're not looked down upon.
Yep. So it wasn't. There's no shame attached.
Even Saul's daughter got a smart ass mouth against David. So women feel that way occasionally, but it wasn't societally frowned upon.
Right.
You couldn't be shamed.
Yep. It wasn't a sin. It wasn't a sin. You couldn't be punished for it.
Wasn't considered cheating.
Yep.
Yeah, it wasn't considered cheating.
Wives, however, usually enjoyed more consideration than concubines.
Right, so there was a difference between a wife and a concubine.
Yep.
All right, so you see a black man or a so-called black man or a Puerto Rican man with a white woman, or that's really the main problem.
Right.
You got a problem with the white woman.
Concubine just simply means second wife. Second
Yeah.
wife. But you wouldn't treat her as the first.
Right.
You know, you wouldn't treat her as the first. Especially if she was a heathen nation. You know, you deal with her accordingly. You know, Israelite woman you'll deal with a different way. Because an Israelite woman is really a princess. You know?
Yeah, she where the tells you that the Lord took away the jewels, the nose jewels, the bandanas. The Lord took all that away from the women, the Israelite woman, mainly referring to the black woman, the figure and all that. It made them set up a girdle, tucked in, a rent.
Rent. Yeah.
Like a tire, like a missionary man. All right.
Yep. It says, let's jump down. It says, it's within. I'll read this again, or with this part. I mean, within his own domain, the authority of the head of the family was almost absolute. He could sell his children as slaves and had power of life and death over them. This is Leviticus 18:21.
Yeah, so
2 Kings 23:10.
Yeah, so
because if your son went off or whatever like that, you can
lazy child or whatever,
Yep.
stubborn it says. You put him
yeah, if following after other gods and whatnot, you know.
idolatry.
Idolatry, yep.
And we're gonna get our power. We don't have a power now. We're gonna get in the kingdom. We're gonna be perfect. So we're not gonna put no Israelite to death.
Yeah, yep.
All right, women not gonna be out of order. But this is just showing you the different dynamics on what we're going back to and how we live today. All right. So if you claim to be in the faith, all right. If you claim to be in the faith, you have to acknowledge that this is the truth, and you have to be in. If you're a woman, you got to be in obedience.
Yep. It says he was also the chief religious functionary of the house.
Right. Yeah. So if you're supposed to, if you Israelite, the wife is technically supposed to be Israelite, right? She doesn't have to be, but technically you're supposed to be Israelite. Now, the scriptures do teach that if you're a believer and your wife's not, you're not supposed to leave her, or vice versa. But technically, you're all supposed to be in the same faith.
Yep. Offering sacrifices to Yahweh on behalf of his family. Upon him rested the responsibility of training them in the ancient traditions.
Right, so it's the husband's job to train. Well, get that. If you learn anything, learn some husband at home. Read that first thing. I know that was good.
Yep. It says, offering sacrifices to Yahweh on behalf of his family.
But right now, we don't do the physical sacrifice. We just teach. Yep. That's our sacrifice. That's teaching.
Upon him rests the responsibility of training them in the ancient traditions.
All right, so your husband's supposed to train you. All right, and that's biblical. We'll read that.
Guys, 1 Corinthians 14:35. And if they learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home.
Read up a verse.
Oh, fine. It says, verse 34, let your women keep silence in the churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak.
All right, yeah, so say if we had a building or something, technically they're not supposed to speak. If we had a building and we invited women in there, they're not supposed to speak. They're supposed to sit in a certain area and just listen.
But they are commanded to be under obedience, also state the law.
And that goes back to Genesis 3, I believe 3 and 16. Go ahead.
And if they will learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is a shame for women to speak in the church.
Yeah, that's it. Any points you got? Go to,
yeah, I'm actually jump down. While a wife was bought and paid for, her actual position was usually far from being a mere chattel, or basically like a possession. Since her own family stood ready to avenge her in case she was mistreated by her husband, so that's kind of important too. So yeah, you know, you could buy and pay for a woman, but you did have to treat that woman with with certain levels of respect and all that, because you basically took that like you said.
Not police officers. It's
Right.
your family. Any issues you have.
Exactly.
With
Yeah.
family,
It's with the family. Exactly.
With the family.
Yep.
Cousins, uncles, grandparents. Those are the people that are supposed to deal with your problems.
Yep.
With domestic issues.
Right, like
not the damn cops.
Like a good way to put it in perspective is just because when you got a wife, you got a possession, doesn't mean you outright just mistreat her.
Right.
That's not the way that works, man.
Yep.
You know, the two are supposed to come together in what is called harmony.
Mm-hmm.
They work together. They're a complement to one another.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And it was a benefit for a woman to be under the hedge of a man, because he offered all those comforts and things that she needed. Okay, in return, she played her role.
That's right. Yeah.
So becoming a possession is not inherently a bad thing. It's just the mindset of this Western world, paints it in a bad light. Because it's not just the women that need to get themselves in order, it's the men too. You have a lot of low quality men out here, okay, with no sense of self-respect. So, if they're not in order, nothing else is going to be in order as well.
Yeah, and if you don't like this, you're not really in the faith. You gotta acknowledge what we tell you is the truth. Like the scripture says, acknowledge the thing that we tell you is a commandment of the Lord.
Right. And guess what? The man had the authority because it was what was in the woman's best interest. All right.
It said she had the chief place in the sub-family formed by her and her children in a polygamous household. The early training of the children was given mostly by her. Right.
Sure, that's scripture too. Let me get that. Let's go to the other one you had. Marriage. You had something in there? Marriage?
I was looking at some things here.
As a matter of fact, just to make a quick point on that, so the father was the authority figure in the house, and he laid down the standards of the house, okay, the specific tasks, the laws. Like right here, I have Psalm 78, and verse 3. It says, "Which we have heard and known, and our fathers have told us. We will not hide them from our children, showing to the generation to come the praises of the Lord and his strength and his wonderful works that he hath done. For he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers that he should make them known to their children." So he would pass it down to the woman, and the woman, especially let's say she was dealing with a male child. Of course, she had to raise the woman child right and get her prepared for what inevitably will be marriage. All right? She had to be given those skills from the mother, but the mother would also train up the son to a certain point. Because remember, a woman is that nurturing spirit that's balanced. So I believe Apostle McCall, he went into this a couple years ago about how a male child, he might spend time with his mother for the first 6-7 years. Then after that, he has to be around his father so he can demonstrate what it is to be a man. Because he needs that masculine presence. Right? That's the point I wanted to make. But everything was under that man's authority.
Right. Yeah, especially if you were a king, and you want to see your children that often, you would have tutors or whatever, other male figures, like maybe an uncle or like a trainer that would guide them. Because remember when Solomon's mother brought him to David, they actually had to go see David while he was sick. That means that was like a separation. They were separate. Right. Solomon couldn't just walk in and see King David. He had his mother took Solomon and he had to go back and present himself before the king. So David wasn't really running certain of his children, or if not all, not often. But he had the king's business to do, and they were doing their studies or whatever. Did you have more on that? Well, read the two scriptures I asked.
Yeah, this other one? God, this Titus 2 and 3, the aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things, that they may teach the young women to be sober, to love their husbands, to love their children, to be discreet.
Yeah, teach them to love their husbands, meaning that the older women know how to please their men. Did I see something about sexual something? Yeah. Read that part again.
To be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their husbands, that the word of the Most High be not blasphemed.
Like to love their husbands and to be obedient to their husbands. So, read that.
Yep. So if you go into marriage, it goes into sexual fulfillment and different other sexual relations and all that. But this expert right here is a sexual fulfillment. It says sex is holy, being the creation and gift of the Most High. It is fulfilled only as regulated by the law of the Most High in marriage. Men and women were created to complement each other physically as in other ways and to share together in the Most High's creative process.
Yeah, men, I think they're trying to say, men and women, not men with men or women with women.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be heterosexual, sexual fulfillment. That's what they're trying to make.
It says man alone can make sex moral, giving it a non-biological meaning and making it creative of personal and spiritual values. Thus man makes sex a function of the whole personality, combining with love and fidelity, while sexuality alone permits the establishment of a relationship. And we always go into that about how basically marriage, sex is the constitution of that marriage, right?
Consummate, right? It's what makes a marriage official.
Yep.
Right? Because that's ultimately how a man and a woman become one flesh. Not just the only way, but that's what officializes the union. Is that act.
Yep. It says while sexuality alone permits the establishment of a relationship, which is procreative, a couple's God-centered union permits them to establish a spiritual creative relationship through their sexuality.
Well, because what Paul says that the man is not without the woman, nor is the woman without the man.
Right. Yep.
So we're together.
Yeah, I think it quotes Paul a little bit in this.
Yeah, if it's relevant.
Right. But I mean that's kind of in on that. Basically,
Yeah, you have somebody hear you say that and think that all of a sudden that means that we're on equal playing field. No, it means that we do need each other. Undoubtedly, we need each other, but we all have a role to play.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, well, they will also say there's no such thing as there's neither Greek nor Jew. Man and woman. So if we're all equal, then there's no man and women either.
And we also don't share the same responsibilities, which is why there's that order there. Like this brother keeps saying, that's what brings about balance.
Right, and if that was true, then why weren't any of the disciples and apostles? Why weren't any of the apostles women? Why didn't you see no women up on the cross? That they gave examples of in the Bible. They were men crucified. Right? We ain't equals.
Nope.
And we proved that. We
just reiterating it. You gotta.
Yeah, they get simple. You say one word, gotcha.
Right.
Yep.
Now, didn't you just say that a woman is not without the woman is nothing without the man ain't nothing without the woman? Yeah, but you got to keep
no
it in
part
context.
of that says that
you got to keep it in context.
Right, you're going out of context.
Right.
When somebody says that. It means that we come together in marriage.
That's right.
Marriage. She's an Israelite. Two. She's just the husband of the prophet.
Precept to back that up. 1 Corinthians 11, verse 3. But I will have you know that the head of every man is a Mashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of the first 1 Corinthians 11, verse 1. Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of a Mashiach. Now I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you.
All right, so we're telling you how to break down the scriptures properly. All right, so keep them as we give them to you. So today we give you something, tomorrow we're going to do something else. Day before yesterday we gave you something else. So as we teach you, you're supposed to follow what we say. You ain't supposed to say women are equal to men. After we just explain the differences. In the clothing, the head of household, all that, and then you just go around and think what you want to think, you're going off. That's you being lukewarm. Right? That's meaning that you're not really in the truth. Right? So you're supposed to listen and perform the task that we tell you to do. Right? Read that verse again.
1 Corinthians 11, verse 11. Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of a Mashiach.
Follow us. All right. What?
Now I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you.
Keep them. Right? What?
Verse 3, but I will have you know that
the elder said, if we ain't ever teach that, why are you teaching? Right? We never taught that perverse doctrine. What?
Verse 3, but I will have you know that the head of every man is a Mashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of a Mashiach is the Heavenly Father.
There you go. That's what it means. Right? So, yeah, the man is not without the woman, and the woman is not without the man. That's marriage. We're together in marriage. It doesn't mean that the woman is equal or above in responsibilities and let's say power in the household or in the system.
It's like it said.
You don't have no queens in Israel. What scripture is that? Besides, a heathen, that was a queen.
It's like I said in there that a man can divorce a woman, but a woman cannot divorce a man.
Well, read that. Did you read it?
Yeah, I read that already. Yeah. So like that right there shows a level of inequality.
Yeah. Right. People got selective hearing.
As a matter of fact, there's a law where a man can, what's that?
Vow, yeah,
vows.
numbers 30.
Yep.
Yep.
Which just goes to show that the man basically was the authority.
It's a law in Numbers. If you have an inkling that your woman is stepping out on you, you take her to the Levitical priest.
Oh, that's fine.
You know, and it's called the law of jealousy offering. But you can't buck up against that.
Right.
Yeah, and then there's another one in Sirach that talks about, if you basically have a problem, if she's not walking away, you want her to walk, like you can give her a bill of divorce.
Well, that would be an example of a justified reason to divorce her, because what's going to cause is, if you don't see eye to eye and she doesn't listen to you, it's going to be turmoil. It's going to be a lot of turmoil. It's going to cause a lot of unproductivity if you have to constantly, get into a situation where it's nothing but combativeness and arguments. That's just going to pose a major distraction to your development. So it makes more sense for you to be alone, or as alone as possible. And that goes for men that got women. You can't be expending all your time with a woman. It exacts a certain toll on your mental, and your spiritual, and you'll be very unproductive if you continue to give all your time, energy over to a woman.
Now, we guys can do that there. I got one more scripture. Wherever y'all got, Numbers 5 and 6.
It's Numbers 5 and 6. It says, "Speak unto the children of Israel, when a man or a woman commit any sin that men commit, to do a trespass against the Lord Yahweh."
So the point here is that men and women can commit the same sins. That's the point from the women's side. Read it again.
It says, "Speak unto the children of Israel, when a man or a woman shall commit any sin that men commit, to do a trespass against the Lord Yahweh, and that person be guilty, then they shall confess their sin which they have done, and he shall recompense his trespass with the principle thereof."
All right, so the point is, men and women will be held accountable for their sins. All right, let me read. First scripture I read was 1 John 2 and 1. If any man sin, that means woman too. If any man sin, you have an advocate with the Father, Yahweh Shai Mashiach the righteous. Offerings and all, but you got Yahweh Shai appreciation. Brothers got more questions?
Yeah, man should be a hiding place.
Yeah, you do that.
This is Isaiah 32 and 2. It says, "And a man shall be a hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place, as a shadow of a great rock in a weary land."
Yeah, that's how precious man is going to be. The precious go back to being the prize. Be the prize. Why? Prize. So the Israelite men, you are the prize. We all said that before. That's it. Brothers, you got precepts?
I got a precept real quick. This is Sirach, what is it? Sirach 40 and 19. It says, children in the building of a city continue a man's name, but a blameless wife is counted above them both. And the reason why I brought this out is, the significance of having children and the building of a city to continue a man's name. But above all of that is a blameless wife. And a blameless wife can only be found out over time.
Right. Yeah, a blameless. What is she blameless of? She's not committed adultery. Not committing adultery. You know if you see her talking to a dude, there is no chance that she's going to ever have sex with that dude. If she's negotiating in the market with fruits and vegetables, there was no way that she's blameless. Like there's no way she's going to end up meeting up later with that dude. Blameless. Housework, blameless. Ain't got to tell her to do nothing. She just do it. It's blameless. That's an example of being blameless.
Yeah, Sleazy E, he know that the woman is the glory of the man. And once you make the woman go off, you destroy the man.
Yeah, well, when you have a certain, because maybe you don't have necessarily this full relationship with a woman like this, but if a woman consults you, that's another example of being blameless. Like, hey, I was going to do this, but I wanted to get your input on how you want me to take care of this or do this thing. That's a woman of a good rapport.
What is it? A good example that is Proverbs 31. about who can find a virtue.
Exactly.
And it goes into all the characteristics. She looking well to her doings.
Right.
You know, she's about her dealings in the house. And, you know, she's reverence. She brings reverence to her husband, you know, by her works and stuff like that.
That's right.
That's a good example. You know?
This is Sirach 26 and 26. A woman that honoreth her husband shall be judged wise of all. But she that dishonoreth him in her pride shall be counted ungodly of all.
Yeah. And a lot of women are prone to dishonor their men in their pride.
That's a part of their godliness, is honoring their husband.
Yep, teach them to love their husbands, the older women, love their husbands, and to be obedient. That's what women are actually supposed to teach. So they might know how to do things that younger women don't know how to do. You know, with their men, I teach them how to do it.
Okay, hey man, well with that, you know, we hope that you've been edified through the Spirit. We want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Of course, giving double honors unto our apostles and elders, a great millstone. Shalom for the whole elect. Wa abad b'bal.
Wow,
Shalom Yasharala.